Y'all know what time it is, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for y'all to grab your popcorns, put your TVs up, have a seat, and enjoy the show. We have a guest today. I guess I'm gonna call you Aubrey. Yeah.
AKA.
No. Okay, she's too camera shy. But so she was in a program. Oh wait, I forgot. Our boy Z.
Yo, it's your boy. He forgets about me sometimes, but it's cool. Like I'll get over it.
Yeah, I won't forget him next time. So she was in a program. What was that program called?
Explorasia.
So that answers one of my questions. So it can only be in Asia. Can you explain that program?
So it's a program for if you want to teach abroad and you don't know where to start, you just contact them and they just walk you through the entire process. They help you with visas, school placements, the orientation. They have a whole orientation month, but COVID narrowed it down to a week, and they just get you all set so you can follow your dreams.
So go ahead.
So with that, you said obviously it's an orientation, but just can anyone apply, or is it a specific? You had to go through certain courses in order to apply.
You can apply if you have a bachelor's degree. I think you can have just a high school degree, but it needs to be accredited, and you need just a little bit more background to it. But if you have a bachelor's in anything, we had one guy who was graduated with a law degree. We have me, sociology degree. You have a business degree. One of my friends was all over the place. Doesn't matter. You just need something behind your name.
So did they give you a list of countries in Asia that you can pick, or you got to say, oh, I want to go to that country?
I picked the country, but they only filter into a handful of countries. So if you want somewhere else, you're gonna have to go to somebody else.
Okay.
But I wanted Thailand, so I looked for them, and they had Thailand on their list.
So what were your other options?
The Vietnam, Korea, Japan, Costa Rica, which I don't know where, but they have a thing. They have a thing in Costa Rica just in case, back up. But yeah.
Awkward. All right, so you chose Thailand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Favorite. Let's just dive deep into Thailand.
Let's just dig deep. Ooh, I'm about.
So first day, time difference, language,
jet lag,
anything. What was that first day like?
Did you have to lock in because of COVID?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot she had to do that.
So first day I get there and it's 6 a.m. and all my backpacks and everything, and then they just shuttle me through to the hotel, and they walk me up, and I get to the hotel room, and they just close the door, and then I'm just in a hotel room for 2 weeks.
You couldn't.
So then I was all right, here I'm in Thailand, let's do this thing. And that was my first 2 weeks in Thailand, was staring out a window and Netflixing and YouTube workouts.
You couldn't leave at all. It was just shut.
After my first week, I got a COVID test and it was negative. So then they're like, oh, you get an hour of outside time every day.
Oh, wow.
Outside time. So it was a really big deal. You could go outside and you could sit in the chair, and you couldn't leave your box, but you could sit in the chair. And the first day, I tried, I'm just I just want to walk. I just need to move.
Good behavior.
And they're like, no, you need to stay in your seat. I was like, it's okay. And so you go and you sit outside, and that's all you do. But
I would have stayed inside. What the heck?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Big deal.
That's like a punishment in the military almost. They make you walk.
Yeah.
Just back and forth.
I wanted to walk, but they wouldn't let me. I had to sit in my box.
No one puts baby in a corner, I guess.
Yeah.
How's transportation over there? How did you get around when you were finally released from the hotel?
I was released from the hotel in orientation week, so that was kind of all arranged by Explorasia. And then I was on my own. So I flew down to my town, because Thailand looks kind of like an elephant, and it has a really skinny trunk. And so I had to go all the way to the bottom. So I flew, which is super cheap. It's $30 for flights around Thailand, usually. Okay. And that's the average. And once you're in Thailand, in my town, I did a lot of walking, but you can get a scooter that's super popular, just really unsafe.
Why is it unsafe?
Just so many of them, and...
Is it cluttered?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're fat. People go fast and weaving in and out. There's no
speed limit.
Road rules is it's like Mario Kart. You just kind of follow your own. That's what literally in orientation they compared it to, is you are just kind of on your own, and you just kind of just avoid
everybody.
Everyone, and it works most of the time. But I'm like, as a foreigner,
But
and on the
never
left
feel-
side of the road, I'm like, I'm just gonna walk. I'm good. I'll walk. It's fine. But a lot of people do scooters and stuff like that.
So what was your farthest walk? Like from like point A to point B, what was the longest walk?
I would just walk for like exercise. Like I would just like walk up and
Fit.
down. You know, it's just no big deal. But probably the farthest I'd have to walk is a place called Old Town, which is a section of town, which has more restaurants and shops and stuff. And maybe that was a mile.
Okay.
And then if I wanted to go further than that, I would call like a scooter Uber, but it was just a scooter. And it was. And then you could like go more around.
So what was the Uber XL like?
That was, you know, big,
Do you have to
big,
call
no.
you have to call multiple scooters then, and like, what if it was more than one of you guys?
Then like we had one car in town that did it, so you just had to be in luck. Or
okay.
there's tuk-tuks. Things are called tuk-tuks, and it's like a taxi service too.
Okay, and then what about weather? So like obviously here, we got all the seasons.
Yes.
There, did you go in a specific like season, or is it like
Yeah.
all year
So
round?
I went in the nice time, dry season. So
okay.
it was usually 90s and sunny.
Was it
Do
like a
it.
humid or was it a dry
Couldn't
heat?
do it.
Humid.
Couldn't do it.
It was typically 80%, 90% humidity every day. And then like I hit a little bit of rainy.
You sweating bullets.
Oh yeah, like there you just sweat all the time. Like
She
you're
didn't have
just
AC.
soaking, which is disgusting. But you just learn
Did
to
you have
sweat.
AC from the audience?
I did. So I lived
Oh,
in a
she had
room,
AC.
a hotel room, but I had to pay for it. So I was very like stingy.
Strategical.
Oh yeah, I just put it on for like 4 minutes and I turned it off. I was like, okay. And then when Dane visited me, he was like, I'll pay for the damn thing. Like just keep it on. Like this is silly to be turning it on and off all the time. I'm like, it's expensive.
Dane doesn't like to sweat. We learned that on the podcast today. He
If
does
you
not
learned
like to
anything
sweat.
from today,
Shout out to Booth.
yeah.
That's a win.
Yeah, but like some places you go in and in orientation they're like, we will guarantee a roof over your head, running water, a toilet, and a fan at least.
Okay.
So I wasn't guaranteed AC, so I was like super grateful that I could get AC because I don't know how I would have done it without it.
Well, you never turned it on, so you didn't need it.
I
Hey,
did
4 minutes.
4 minutes
4
at a
minutes.
time.
4
and
minutes,
then-
bro. It's like
And
someone
you don't
blowing
move.
on you, but it's cool air. It's fine.
Literally. Yeah.
So touching the school aspect a little bit. So like,
Yes.
were you specifically teaching English? Were you teaching American culture?
Mm-hmm.
Were you teaching pop culture? Like, what were you actually teaching when you were over there?
So I had to teach subjects in English. So I had to teach a science class to 6th graders, some English focused classes to the other
You
two.
teaching science?
And
What were you
I was
teaching?
a PE teacher, so not to toot my
Active.
own horn, but I did do that as well in English. But yeah, they give you subjects and you teach those specific subjects in English.
All right. So what'd you do in gym? Like, what'd you have them do?
Run in a circle. Here, guys, run in a circle,
It was more
please.
like,
Welcome to American
Free
culture.
time?
Here's a ball.
yeah, free
So
time.
throw it at them.
They would beg for free time. I'm like, I guess because you guys were good today, I'll give you free time.
So,
But I never did anything.
can you explain like how the schooling system worked? Like, was it just one school there, or were there 2 schools, and like they were specifically those kids wanted to learn English, and that's why you were there? How was that school set up?
The school I was in, there was a couple schools in my town. The school I went to was the best English school in town. And so there was an English program.
Okay.
Students had to test into that program every year. If you did not get in the top 30 students, you got bumped from the program. You had to do a regular programming.
Some Americans wouldn't be in that program.
Exactly. So their English, like they were
They were good.
and it was an expensive program for these
they had
families.
to pay for it.
So it was a big deal. To be
And this is just
in
a
this
class?
It's a whole program. So it's like
A whole.
So they go to the English school.
it's kind of like
Yeah.
IB.
Okay.
It's like you get into it, and then your courses are surrounded by, or AP, and your courses are surrounded by this program, and it dictates what you take when.
Can you get kicked out of it if you don't go up to par? Like, do they
So
string you along?
what was funky about our program, which was a little bit biased, was we couldn't fail them.
No kid left behind. I mean, that's
Yeah,
America
so-
too.
So you just strung them along?
Yes, which was little gray areas of like, you don't understand this, There was a lot of gray area with that, but no kids were kicked out in that sense. But the next year, if they didn't test in,
Also, they had to renew.
Yeah.
So.
then they get bumped.
It's like a Planet
Can you
Fitness card.
like
Literally.
So, can you explain? So let's say I got in first grade, right?
Yep.
And then I missed second grade. I can get back in on third grade.
Yes.
How does that I get where you're going. How does that like the skills that you acquire in second grade because you missed that test? How does that happen? How does that catch you up in third grade?
The students that probably would have done that would be getting a tutor outside of class, which a lot of teachers did do on the side, or hopefully an English speaking parent or friend or somebody that are like an online thing. You just kind of have to have money though to pay.
Jeez.
Okay.
So it's a little bit more privileged. But this is just my school. This is not
Yeah.
a Thai system. This is just my
your-
specific one that I experienced.
Your program.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I guess I just had like this like PD this week about discipline and like what you discipline a kid for. Some were subjective things where the kid was like actually acting out in class, so that's why you were disciplining him, or he was being too loud, so you disciplined him. And there was objective where like they showed up late or they didn't turn in stuff. How was the discipline over there?
I was in a school where they gave me a Thai assistant. So it would be me teaching, and there'd be a Thai assistant there who spoke English and Thai, and she would be in charge of like if the kids don't understand what I'm saying, or if there's a word they don't quite understand that's a little bit too complex, she can translate to them, or she can translate that. And her role also is to kind of keep the kids in line, to discipline them. I never really ran into disciplinary issues with my 4th and 5th graders. Like I could just like yell at them and they'd be like, whoo. But my 6th graders were kind of out of hand, and my Thai assistant wasn't helpful in that sense. So then there was just no controlling and no discipline, and it sucked.
So
it would suck.
So did you pick up any Thai throughout that whole thing? Did you
Like you had to learn how to yell something in Thai to get them to
or
shut
like
up.
learn some of the language?
You know the mom voice. I learned a handful of things that I needed just on the everyday, and then other than that, I just use Google Translate.
Okay.
Which is mine.
So
but I didn't learn as much as I should have.
did you?
That
Okay.
was on me.
So like you learned what to say. Did there's any words that you pick up? Like if they were to say something, you would get it at all?
Like
No?
a slang almost.
No.
Okay, so can you say something in Thai and then tell us what it means?
Oh no! You should have told me this beforehand.
Probably do that.
Hot seat, remember?
Yeah.
Sawadika, Chanchu Aubrey Nit Noi Thai. So, hello, my name is Aubrey. I only speak a little Thai.
All right, one more time. Go again, just for the camera.
Sawadika, Chanchu Aubrey Nit Noi Thai.
All
Yeah,
right.
I know. You're welcome.
I'll take that.
You're welcome.
All right. So obviously, Boothang came and visited you.
He did.
So how was that like waiting for him to spend his 2 weeks, like knowing he was like there in the clinic, but you couldn't get to him? Like how was that?
That was, oh my God. So I was sitting in school and I was just kind of waiting for like the text, like, oh, I made it. And so like that day I just didn't even concentrate. Got the text and like made it to the hotel. And so I had my last week of school that week. So I had to do like final testing and said goodbye to all my kiddos. So it was kind of preoccupied with that, which was fine. But then I was like, all right, a week and not with him. And he's sitting there. So then I went and visited a friend. But it was kind of just like, all right, speed this up. Like he's just sitting there, but he was living the best life in quarantine.
What are the ventures that you guys did together that we're gonna see on YouTube soon? Right, Dane? What are the adventures that you guys did, or like top 3 adventures you did? Because you guys did a lot of crap.
Top 3. One for me was a cooking class we did in Phuket, which is really cool because
Dane cooks? What?
no.
What'd you guys cook?
No.
Sorry, that's a lot.
A class. We tried to learn.
Okay.
But we cooked. We got to like pick 3 meals each, and like learn how to cook that. So I did like a rice, like
Oh
pad
man.
thai, and something else.
What's a pad thai?
I can't wait for you to cook for me, Dane.
Yeah, so me too. I'm
What's
kidding.
pad thai?
Like a noodle
noodles.
dish with
peanuts.
peanuts, soy sauce.
That
pepper
sounds jiggy.
flakes, very good. So that was cool because like food is so ingrained in culture, so that he'd be like, oh, this ingredient is important because this whole history behind it. I was like, oh, you never would have known that. So that was cool, like a cool culture, and then we got to eat the food.
Was everything fresh? Like fresher, obviously, than here?
I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Another adventure. Snorkeling was fun. We did snorkeling. And
In the Bangkok River?
In the Bangkok River, yeah.
Really?
No.
Oh, I would have been like, that's some
She's
dirty.
like,
That's a
You
dirty
got
river.
diseases?
Yeah, I'm like, why? What'd you see in there?
Jelly pie.
You got COVID in the river?
Worse than COVID. I think that's.
Like, you're alive? Yeah, we did snorkeling on an island, which was super cool. But that's where I saw jellyfish, and that's kind of where I was like, I'm out. I'm gonna sit in the boat the rest of the time. I'll fuck with
like
that
jellyfish?
shit. Like,
You don't like
or I don't mess
jellyfish?
with that. Huh?
You don't like jellyfish?
You know, I'm just not even gonna test that water. It's like I saw it, and I just right back on the boat, and now it's done for the day.
Okay, did he stay in the water?
Yeah, he was just
Oh.
like, I was like, I saw a jellyfish. He's like, okay, just making his way back. I'm like, I'm not gonna pee on you. I don't know what to tell you.
Friends reference. Friends reference.
Hashtag friends.
Tough. And that third adventure?
Alright, third one.
Third adventure, I would say, like, just not necessarily an adventure, but just showing him around my town. Because it's fun, like, you're living the thing. It's fun someone comes and you're like, this is where I get breakfast every day. This is where I get my coffee. This is where I'm working. Like, I got to show him school. Like, that was just it's just fun to share it. And because of COVID, like, my family couldn't come. And, like, more friends that I wanted to come couldn't come. So it was, like, nice finally showing off a little bit. Like, this is, like, my life right now. It's really cool. And you get to experience it, too. Like, this is where I usually get dinner. So it's just fun to share. So that was just kind of grateful that I could do that.
Okay.
How's the wildlife? Like, did you see any wildlife out there?
My town had a lot of monkeys. So monkeys were super
Like,
popular.
just
Did they tell you, like,
Really?
not to touch them? Or, like, because, like, when I went to Mexico, they told me, like, stay away from the dogs.
Like, oh, yeah. We had a lot of dogs, too. But they were accustomed to
The
people.
dogs
But
were?
I could, yeah. Yeah,
so, like,
stray dogs.
Were you petting monkeys? Or?
No, just.
So you stayed away from the monkeys?
Yeah, I just kind of like walked by. But then if it was just me, I'm like, don't make eye contact. I got a little nervous because I'm like, these monkeys could take me in about 2 minutes. So.
But you saw them visible in the tree.
Oh yeah, and they're like right next to you, and people do feed them and stuff, but because they're sort of like accustomed to humans.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, I'm just not gonna cross that line. Like, I respect you, you respect me.
Don't bite me, please.
Just do not attack me because there's 80 of you and one of me, and I will die. So there's those, and that's not a lot of wildlife as much as you would think.
What about bugs?
Well,
Like
it's
any-
like 80% humidity. There's nothing but bugs.
I don't know, but
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, any, like, weird ones? Like,
Not as many
spiders,
as
stuff
I would
like that.
think. When we like visited a jungle, that's where I was kind of like bugs and big lizards and stuff. But
I mean,
in my
that's
town,
your mistake, going to a jungle. Like, I'm
that
sorry.
was I learned like that's not my place. I
No more
like saw a
jungles?
lizard. I would visit, but I'm not glad to sleep in the jungle again.
You
Like,
slept in the jungle?
We did.
How was that? No,
Yes.
now
Yeah,
we're.
yeah.
How was
Okay,
that?
yeah, we had some stories with that. Stay over there. Look at him trying to get over. Because he knows I gotta tell the story. So we went to visit a national park, and before you go into national park, we signed up for like this 3-day tour thing. So you stay in this bungalow, then early in the next morning you'll like go into the park, and they arrange everything. It was a great deal, local, so we could like give back to the community. So we get to this bungalow, and she takes us into the jungle, and it's lifted. And I don't know if you can like show pictures on the podcast.
We
If you
can and send it to us. Yeah.
We'll just show right there.
Picture
or
right here?
something. Yeah. So like we go into the
Right here?
bungalow, and we're like, oh, this is really cool because it's like lifted off the ground. It's beautiful, and you could hear all the wildlife and stuff. There's monkeys and stuff, and then there's a sign in the bungalow that was like, lock your doors, just because monkeys like to like come in and
Them thumbs.
yeah, they'll come in and mess with your toiletries and mess with your stuff. And then Dane read the
couldn't.
sign,
I
and Dane was
couldn't.
like, we gotta lock the doors.
I didn't do
Dane's
it.
like, we gotta lock it every single time. And then we'd like walk outside, and he'd be like locking the doors. Wait, I'd be like, oh, I need to grab a pen. So I'd have to walk in, he'd be locking the door behind me. I'm like, okay, this is a little excessive. We don't need to be locking it every single time. Just like, you're fine. And then one night, I locked the door, or I thought I locked the door.
Forgot to lock the door.
Somehow it fell on me, and I just, did a light little latch. I didn't lock it all the way, and then, because I was like, oh, monkeys are coming in here. And then so I'm sleeping the next day, and then I just get whacked, and I'm just like, what? He's like, monkey. I was like, what are you talking about? I look up, and there's just like a monkey staring at us.
Oh, a monkey slapped you, or did Dane slap you?
No, Dane did. He woke me up. And he's just this monkey staring and just like flies out the room, and he was like going through all of our toiletries, and Dane just flies up and he locks the door. He's like, that was right next to my wallet and my passport. That monkey could have grabbed it. I told you to lock the door. I told you to lock the door. And I was just like laughing because it was so fun. It's a good story now. But at the time he was so mad. He was just like, this is why we locked the doors.
Cry
but
now,
I was just like
later.
going through our toiletries and stuff, and it must have like dropped something that woke Dane up. And he was just like, my wallet could be out in the jungle right now. And I'm like, well, we woke up to him, but like, it's kind of funny. But I did feel bad. I was like, now I know to lock the door. But other than that, like the jungle was fine.
That's nuts.
Except there was like a lot of big lizards, and I'm like, it's just in the bathroom. And I was like, that's like my time. I don't need to share that with you. But other than that, it was like a cool experience to do.
Dude, you got robbed by a monkey. Like,
Almost.
Yeah.
They almost got robbed by a monkey.
Yeah.
I mean, toiletries taken, robbed.
Like,
You know,
they were interested. They were getting little sticky fingers in there. But I was like,
Top-
damn.
Top 3 favorite places in Thailand that you enjoyed.
It has to be my town just because of the
Population
Relationship.
of town?
I just looked this up. Maybe. So they do it by province, which is like a state.
Mm-hmm.
So my town was in a state, in the province. So my province state had, I think, 16,000. But then my town was like a part of that. So less than 16,000 in my town. But
So about 400?
roughly 12.
12.
But yeah, so it was smaller side, but
Okay,
Kinda
so
small.
that's one.
yeah, so my town, that national park we did go to post monkey incident was super beautiful. It's called Khao Sok National Park, and it just looked like,
A lot of mountains, a lot of trees.
yeah, like straight up mountain. Like the movie, I didn't watch the whole movie, but I've seen like clips of it. Avatar, with the blue Avatar.
Oh, yeah.
Blueface?
Like that type of feel of just green and exotic
Is
and
there-
super high mountains.
Is there a trail?
No, so you have to go in by boat, which
You
is
go
why
on
you
the
need to
boat.
do the whole tour thing.
Oh.
Interesting.
And then we got to, it's a lake, so then we actually got to stay on a bungalow, like floating on the lake. Here's a picture. No, but you could, so we slept in this hut that was floating on the lake. So that just whole experience was cool, but, so that's
Do
actually
they
the
have
number one
hippos
place.
in Thailand?
Huh?
Do they have hippos?
No.
That's Africa.
Yeah, that's Africa.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not a water guy.
Then
I
that's
feel like
fair,
there's some
that's
dangerous
fair.
stuff in
I know,
water.
like we did go kayaking, and I was kind of like, yeah, I really don't know what's under here, so we're just gonna kind of keep moving.
And then number 3?
Number 3 would have to be Koh Phi Phi Island, which was really, really pretty and small, walkable. No, I take that back. Bullshit. Koh Lipe Island, which is my favorite
Another island.
Yeah, a different island, which was actually better. And it was on the south of Thailand, and it's more known by locals, which was why it's so cool. It's less expensive and beautiful and
Less
stuff.
expensive.
And less white people.
So when we talk about like how the people were, so like, you know, like when they're sellers, like they try to like, you have to start haggling with them. Like, did you have any like haggling experiences where you had to like talk a price down? Like, what's like, or did you just pay up front? Like, okay, like this is what you want, I'm gonna give it to you. Or did you like talk prices
Man, this
down?
is Aubrey. You swear she's so like stingy with her money.
Listen, that's what I'm saying. So I'm trying to,
It's
I'm
like,
trying to
how
see.
low did you get the price? For the most part, I didn't it was custom to haggle, especially in markets and stuff. But because the prices were already so low, because I'm so privileged coming in, and because it's COVID times and they're so desperate for every penny they could get, I didn't even like bother with it. I was like, here, take the full thing. But it is super customary to talk it down. And I think there's maybe 1 or 2 times where I'm like, oh, can I get 2 for 300 baht, which is their currency, instead of like are just, I don't know. I tried to maybe like combine them a little bit, but for the most part, I was like, just take my money.
3 favorite dishes.
Green curry. Or most of the curries, but green curry probably.
What is green curry?
I've heard of yellow curry.
The tomatoes and basil leaves and very good. We'll go.
I've never heard of it.
We'll go. Pad Thai. I know it's super basic, but there was a restaurant by me where I would get the Pad Thai, and it just was very good. And then beer. Just kidding. Morning Glory, which is like, it's called water spinach in English, but I don't know.
What is it?
It's just like greens, but with like peppers, garlic, stir fried, and you just have it with rice and an egg.
Have you had like collard greens? Like, is it close to that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but a little less thick.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
For that.
Yeah.
So when we think about the norms of Thailand, like, there are specific norms. What were some things that people told you, like, yo, whatever you do, don't do this?
Nothing comes to mind. Because it's super kind country, super safe country. I never felt unsafe. There's not really anything where I'm like, when you're in Thailand, never do that, I don't think. What they told us in the orientation actually was like, never like raise your voice. You know how Americans, like, if you're mad, I'm like, oh, you got my order, or you didn't give me something you wanted, like, I'm so mad at you. Give me a discount. Do this and that. And like a Karen. Yes.
Don't
and raise your
Karen.
voice. Like the Thai culture, they retreat and they just like, that's like the thing they really were emphasizing. Like, just be kind.
Don't be a Karen.
And we can just bring that back to America if you want
Hashtag.
to. Like, we don't need to like if you want, just like, don't raise your voice. Don't be rude. But that's kind of what they're emphasizing, just because their culture kind of clashes with that a little bit.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, but other than that, not really. There's not really like, don't do's in Thailand.
Okay, and then sticking to norms, what norms are different than American norms when you think about just like the everyday way of life?
Shoes, as we know, like when you go into an Asian household, you like take off your shoes, and like I taught without my shoes on, which is super interesting.
That's dope.
All the kids took their shoes off before then going in the classroom.
What do you do about smelly feet?
You know, the 6th grade room, it did have a smell because they're just older and they stink. I know it is a little nasty, but
gotta take Abby to Thailand.
Yeah, trying to think of other things. Yeah, most of it is just kind of you go with the flow. Super relaxed culture, super go with the flow culture.
What's some of the culture that you brought back home with you? Like, if you brought anything back home with you that you're gonna do for, like, let's say, I'm not gonna say for the rest of your life, for at least like the next 5 years, you know?
Or like I'd like to incorporate, hopefully, like as I have a job and more income, is like when you go to someone's house, like you bring like a dish to share, or you bring like something to share, and they just kind of like welcome, like, oh, I'm so grateful to be in your home. Let's share this together. And they're really like big on meals and things like that, and just talking. So I really would I like that kind of atmosphere, like you don't just come over and
it's like American movies, like, yo, hey, I got a pot
right, like
roast.
let's share this lasagna right now, like like I would love to just like bring over lasagna.
I know you made fried chicken, but I got a whole
like, let's just do that type of stuff. So that kind of thing, and just the kindness of it.
Just tell me I can't cook, man.
Time is. Can we go over 30 minutes?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know.
Yeah, we
Well,
go.
you guys said
This
30
is your
minutes.
show.
You
This
guys
is your
said
show.
30 minutes.
Listen, your mom's gonna watch this whole
Hi,
thing.
Mom. Sorry about the swear.
She's not sorry.
The kindness in general towards like other beings, especially like animals, was super huge. Like we did mention, there was a lot of stray dogs, and in Thailand that's a huge issue because they're a Buddhist culture, so they don't believe in, like, what's it called when you
Taming animals, killing animals.
No, but the
Eating animals,
snipping, the
neutering.
Yeah, they don't believe in that, or whatever that like is called.
Neutering, spade.
Yeah, so they that's against the Buddhist religion and culture, so they just okay, but they're super big on taking care of the animals there. So you'd see stray dogs, but then you'd see people bringing leftover from their dinner. They'd come and feed the dogs, or they'd feed the cats, and so there was no skinny stray animals.
Yeah.
So it was like just that kind of kindness and empathy towards other beings, and they were like that to other humans too. But you just kind of see it more when it's like feeding a stray dog.
So wait, cats would just eat straight up human food? Like I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, like yeah, they would rice. You just see like piles of rice when you're walking down the street, and you'd be like, oh, like they're leftover rice.
Like my aunt, she feeds the stray cats in this neighborhood. Yeah. Like she puts the food out, she feeds them. My grandma, she like took her rice, threw it on the front yard. Feed the birds, like that's
and it's just that kind of like, oh, I have extra, let me share it with, like, I just love that. And I don't know what the question was, but
I said
I like that.
You brought that back. Yeah. You brought that back. Yeah. And again, you said when you get a job, you want to be able to be giving.
Yeah. So. Yeah, well, I'm not about to feed you guys anytime soon. Like, let me.
Damn.
Listen, I got a kitchen table now, so like I'm waiting on a lasagna.
Yeah,
okay?
I need a income, but yeah.
All right. You got anything off the top of your head?
So being back, what is one thing that you like miss from like obviously?
She already said she wanted to go back.
That's what I'm saying. Like you were there for how long?
8 months.
So you were there for almost a year. COVID made it seem longer. Seeing Dane for like really made it feel like home. So like, what do you miss the most about being there? Obviously, teaching is one thing, but like outside of that.
I would say just the laid backness of it, of just the culture as a whole. Right when I got back, I just had this weight on my shoulders of I need to get a job. I need to know what I'm going to be doing for the next year. I need to be like doing this, having a plan, things like that. But there, I made several Thai friends who were just like, I really don't know yet, and I'm just figuring it out. And that's just the norm. There is no pressure to be like doing something, career, job, family, marriage, kids, like all in like this crazy time span.
Are you just shooting me in the face right now?
No, but it's just like for people who aren't prepared for that, there is this pressure, I think, here, which is why I got super bad anxiety coming back. I was just like, I need to be working right now.
I'll feel that.
But I'm like, I don't need to be. I have a savings. I am comfortable for a couple months, but that's that pressure. I need to be doing something. And that pressure is just kind of taken off. And it's just like, just meals there. There's no rush in the meals, and there's no rush in. It's just everything's really slow, which is annoying at times. Like you're just like, where is my whatever, my bus, or where is my something? Like they're just on their own time. There's no rush, and you just kind of gotta go with it. No schedule. Thai time. It's Thai time, and there is just your bus leaves at 1:30, but you're there at 3, and they're like, all right, well, boarding now, and you're like, okay, but just it's Thai. Like there's just no rush that there is here, that no pressure, which I miss that kind of like laid back atmosphere.
All right, and then to wrap up your whole experience, give it a hashtag. How would you hashtag your experience?
Hashtag Thai things, which doesn't make sense, but you just be walking sometimes and you would just see something that you would only see in Thailand, and you just be like, Thai things. Like there's just no. Like, example, I was eating at a restaurant one day. It was just me. I was just enjoying my meal, watching probably Netflix. And on a scooter, there's just a scooter goes by, and this guy's holding 2 roosters, like, in his thing. And they're live. But they're, like, in his arms. And I'm just like, Thai thing. Like, you just wouldn't see that anywhere else. And it would just happen all the time. And it was just random Thai shit. And, like, hashtag Thai things.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's all we have for today. If you have any questions about her program, about Thailand, leave a comment down below. I'll track her down and tell her to comment back on you guys. If you like the video, like the video. If you haven't yet, subscribe. And also, if you want to see more of Aubrey, comment down below you want to see more of Aubrey.
Hashtag more Aubrey.
Well, I'm going to comment on both. More Aubrey.
Well, we're going to get more Aubrey. So, thanks for coming to the show.
Thanks for having me.
This is Dane's girlfriend, right? Shocker.
Yeah, so like the way we do things in our group is like the man like is first. So like she's Dane's girlfriend.
She doesn't like that.
Yeah, and it's not like, oh, this is Aubrey's boyfriend. She's Dane's girlfriend.
All right, so that's it for the space.
It's your boy Z, and we are out.